Okay, so continuing with part 2 of courting and dating. In part 1, I just could not load channel information. No, don't. I hit try again. I shouldn't have. Whatever. It'll pop back up and say the same damn thing. My Wi-Fi has been shit lately. Mercury's in retrograde and all this fun stuff. So we do what we can with it. Anyway, so courting and dating part 2. And I started off with, addressing like little small things about differences between courting and dating, and then I started talking about how it's very important for your beliefs to match up, to be equally yoked, because if somebody's back here and you're here, then it's going to be a hard road to plow, yo. I'm telling you from personal experience. I'm telling you from what I've seen. And you just make sure that somebody ain't bullshitting. Like, make sure their actions line up with their words. Like, if they say they believe one thing, then the fruit of believing that is a certain thing. And if they don't produce that fruit, if their actions don't match what they say they believe, then it's a no-go, honey. It's a big red flag. And that's across the board. That's not, it just is what it is. And when I say across the board, I mean it doesn't matter what color, culture, religion you are, what gender you are or identify as. It applies to everybody. Don't be unequally yoked with somebody. And don't get all twisted because that's some words from the Bible and you've had church hurts. Because there's a lot of magic, there's a lot of wisdom in that book. You just got to read it. The more you read, the more you'll get revealed. And then you'll be like, oh. People wonder why I'm so, But yeah, so that's a big deal. Personally, I don't have I feel like the next thing I want to talk about is family. Cause like if you're going from dating to courting, then you're gonna have to check in with the person's family. And this is like part of a traditional thing and more respectful. But like for me personally, I don't have any family. My parents are dead. My brother is dead. So I don't have anybody. I have my children. I have my brother's children. But other than that, the rest of any relatives are fucking dead to me. Maybe one or two cousins here and there that I'll still speak to. But other than that, no. I don't have anybody. And people see that as a target. Like, people will target people that don't, these unhealthy motherfuckers will target you for that. Just like they target single mothers. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. They like actually hunt for and choose people that don't have anybody or that single mothers, single parents. I've seen it happen. I've experienced it in my own life. Like, these fuckers are sick, because they're just looking to use you and abuse you. And I'm it's easy for me to hold out now. It's easy for me to wait for someone mature enough and healed enough that matches my vibration to come along. You know what I'm saying? So family is a big important thing. Also, the family that you're marrying into. Like, I had a family when I got married. My parents would not sign for me. I had to turn 18 before my parents would sign for me to get married because they didn't want me to marry the person that I married. And, and, you know, I'm not sure if they would have approved of anybody I brought home. Because I don't hold with my family's traditions of you're white, you only date white people. That has been goddamn disastrous. And some of my best relationships have been with people of color. Okay? And to me, I don't give a shit. You know, as long as you treat me well and you're good with my kids, that not that they accept you, but that you are correct. You come correct with my kids, like, then that's cool. I don't have no discrimination there, at all. I don't care what kind of package true unconditional love comes in. I just want to be open to receive it when it comes. So yeah, I'm being really fucking vulnerable right now. Because, like, when you get with somebody, like, my ex-husband and I both went into our relationship and marriage. It was horrible. I made the best of what I could do with it. I made the best of it. And it's like I told my children, you know, your dad and I both came into a relationship that neither one of us was ready for. And we came in with baggage from our childhood, traumas from our own families. And then decided we was ready to have a family, to start our own and try to prove everybody wrong, whatever. And it wound up being a shit show and you guys got shat on. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for my part in that. And I'm going to encourage you not to be in a relationship with somebody until you know who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in and what you want in life and what you want in a partner and a partner's family. Because when you get with a partner, that you're most likely, more than likely, dealing with their family. Whether it's physically dealing with their family, like being around their family, or whether it's just you're dealing with the repercussions of your person growing up in that family. Okay? So, yeah. Family is an important thing. You want to make sure that that family has been reasonably healthy. Like, don't marry into a family dynamic that you don't like. Like, God damn, what is wrong with these fuckers? All they do is fuss and fight and argue. Like, ew. Like, why does my man never want to leave his mother? What is up with that? Is there some toxic, emotional toxic incest here? Like, what is going on? You know, you want to observe while you're dating and see how this person interacts with their family. You know, are they using your person? Is your person an amazing person like you, but yet not having boundaries and allowing the family to run them because of traditions and, oh, you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that? Like, you got to be thinking about these things. You got to decide what you want in your life, in your family, because this is like your future. This is somebody you're going to wake up with and go to sleep with. This is somebody you're going to walk through this life with. You know, think about it. Think good, long, and hard about it. And it's okay to don't let nobody pressure you into making any kind of decision. I don't care if you wind up having sex and getting pregnant with a motherfucker. Don't yoke yourself. Don't marry somebody that does not fit. Don't marry because it's, oh, we should get married because we're pregnant. Oh, we should get married to have a family unit together. Oh, we should do this. No. If it's a we should, then you shouldn't. That's the advice I'm going to give you. If there's a voice in your head telling you you should do this because of tradition, or because it don't look right, or because we're in the Bible Belt, or what the fuck ever. No, don't. Save yourself some time and a hell of a lot of money, because divorce costs a hell of a lot more than that little marriage license and your little run to the judge to get that shit done. It costs more. And then if you did have a wedding and paid for all that shit, you know, even more so. Like, it costs too much. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, sexually, every which way. Don't do it. There's a thing called child support. But there's also a thing called, sometimes you just gotta do it on your own and learn how. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Is doing life on my own from rock bottom with nobody but me. Nobody but me here. Nobody but me doing what I do. Nobody but me making sure my bills are paid. Making sure I'm healthy enough to go to work. Making sure I don't stress myself out too much. Ain't nobody taking care of me but me. You know, there's nobody to call home to. Mama's not there anymore to say, Mama, can you help me pay this bill? There's nobody. There's a whole 2/3 of a farm, a family farm of mine. And I don't even count that. Because I'm not willing to go fight for a piece of land that people have killed my family and threatened my life over. You got me fucked up. I'll just go build my own somewhere else. From rock bottom. Because I can. So, like, yeah. You make sure that family is decently healthy. You're especially going to be dealing with a mother-in-law. Either way you go. That's the mama. There's going to be a mama, this is my baby kind of stuff. Whether it's a healthy dynamic or an unhealthy dynamic. Either way. How you get along with your mother-in-law, how you know, hey, I be judging a motherfucker. After the horrendous experience that I had with my first marriage, honey, I will not tolerate a toxic mother-in-law. So you either have to leave your family and cut your ties, or like, that's if you're a great person and they're still not healed. Because sometimes your family don't follow suit. They just want to keep using you. And that's not cool either. My family was that way. They want me to come back and take care of everything after mom was neglected to death. You got me fucked up. I've got stuff to do with my life to get myself straight, to get my children straight. Like, don't, you've already lived your life. Don't ask me to come take care of everything and live in a place where people hate me because they think I've got everything they want. I sacrificed a lot, and I was not willing to sacrifice my life. My family was unwilling to move. Me, I would have sold out and moved somewhere I wanted to live, where people appreciate my intelligence and my energy and my love for community, you know? Yeah. So, okay, we're just 13 minutes. Yeah, be really careful with that. You know, really observe the kind of relationship your significant other has with their parents, whether it's mother wounds, father wounds, sibling wounds even. You know, watch the family dynamic and see, you know, is that something you want to be a part of? Is that something you want to raise your children in? Is that something you want to create children into with that kind of generational stuff, you know? And I'm not saying they're all bad at all. I know there's great family dynamics out there. I've seen them. Where it's, you know, healthy people. They grow together. They pray together. They play together. They eat. They love one another. They've got great family dynamics. They're healthy. They express themselves. They speak up and they have healthy boundaries. I've seen it. It exists. You know? But I'm also going to warn you about, check those red flags, honey. Check those red flags. Because when they start waving, that's kind of when you head the other way. They're like, no, thank you. Because, I mean, it's very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. It is not healthy at all for anybody to be in a toxic family relationship. It's not healthy for you, your partner, possible children you could have. It's not. It's not healthy even for the ones who are toxic. It just feeds them. and yeah, I won't tolerate that. If I love somebody and their family wants to hold them back so that they can keep siphoning off of them and using them because they're an amazing person and they're kind and loving and don't have good enough boundaries, I'm going to be like, look, dude, you got to set some boundaries here, or and keep them, and let your folks know they ain't going to be treating you like this. Ain't no man of mine getting treated like this, because I'm going to annihilate your whole fucking family. I will whoop your whole family's ass on a spiritual level. I won't touch them, but rest assured, I will whoop their ass on a spiritual level. So, you either stand up for yourself, or I'm gone. You learn how to take care of this on your own, because I learned how to stand up to my family on my own. I've been standing up to my family like that ever since I was able to, like, leave home at 16, you know? There's just things that I'll not participate in. I'm not going to live in a home where I'm afraid of somebody saying something, somebody doing something, fear of somebody coming home intoxicated and letting their demons run a shit show. No, sir. No, ma'am. No, nobody. We ain't doing that over here. Not with me. And you don't deserve that either. You don't deserve to have to live with, live a life of Russian roulette. You know? You don't. Nobody does. Nobody deserves to live in fear. So, like, if I find myself starting to fear or dread something, my home is my safe place. And I do my best to create a safe space with that. Like, even with my own children. Like, when I was a single mom, and one of my children was very seriously aggressive and verbally and even physically trying to abuse me and my other two children, I was like, this is not fair. You don't deserve to live here with us if all you're going to do is act like your dad's family and try to abuse us. So what I'm going to do is, because sending them to the psych ward did not work. It changed some things, but it didn't. So it flared up again. And so I sent my child to go live with my parents, with the prayer that, please God, let my dad in his old age be a hell of a lot better grandfather than he was a father. Please let him be decently respectful to my mom in front of my child. But I can't have my other two children or myself being threatened with violence and verbal abuse all the time. I can't take this. It's destroying everybody. And so I sent him to live with my parents. And that worked for a while. Until Mama had that stroke. And then he went to go live with his dad's family. Because my dad couldn't and wouldn't take care of my mother the way she needed to be. So, there's a whole lot there. Check into family stories and family histories, and like, don't just let somebody laugh off, oh, ho, 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 that's the way my auntie is, or that's just the way so and so is. No, hell no, that's not okay. It's not. Just because the family's made it okay and acceptable for this person to behave in these manners towards everybody else and towards themselves is not, that don't make it okay. If it's not okay with you, if it don't line up, you know, you gotta be a healed person. You gotta heal yourself. Because, like, there was a time when that stuff was okay with me. Because that's the way I was raised. That was the traditions I was raised in. Oh, well, we just don't let this cousin come to the family reunion because they like to touch other cousins. Or, you know, shit like that. Like, you know, it could be anything. I'm not saying that that one's quite specific to my family, but in a way, on a low, it is. Parts of my parents' families. And so, you know, as you know, why would you want to even be around people or let them be around your family, you know, if you knew that they had a tendency to be touching your kids? Like, what the fuck is that? There's nothing okay about that. Nothing. You know, and I speak from watching it happen with family, technically family, you know, that was neighbors. And I wouldn't even let my kids go outside and play without me. If you were outside playing without me, I was going to bust your ass. Because first of all, don't you dare put yourself in a position of danger. And then it got to the point where I'm sick and tired of my kids not being able to go out and play in their own fucking yard, you know, while I'm in here washing the dishes or while I'm in here cooking food. My children should have the right and the ability to go outside and play in our own fucking yard without having to worry about anything. Or anyone coming to harm them in any way. Girl, I'm gonna tell you what, I started praying. That motherfucker went back to prison too, because he wound up touching one of the kids again that was in the house that he was living in, which was not supposed to be allowed. He wasn't supposed to be allowed to be in a house with the kids. But yet they let it happen. And then the kids are all fucked off because of it now. Like, really? Like, how can you normalize that shit? How can that be okay with you? What the fuck is wrong with people? $22 on my clock. So definitely do your research. Do your observations. Pray about it. If you pray, do whatever you do to connect with your spirit guides, ancestors, gods, whatever you pray to, and communicate with in the spirit realm or whatever. Or if you don't, then you might want to like check into that. If you're just blindly going around believing that there's no life after death, you need a reality check. Watch some stuff about it, like read up on it. It's real. Journey of the Souls is an excellent title to start with. It is medical proof, case studies. Not even case studies. It's just basically case observations, and they wrote the observations down, and here's the evidence. You can't deny it. So, you know, so yeah, like whatever you communicate with, like check in. Be like, okay, this made me feel a little bit uncomfortable whenever this or that was said. You know, if you're going into a family dynamic and you're at a family gathering and Uncle so-and-so or Auntie so-and-so is just like putting out their sexual energy and like saying sexual shit to you, and you're with their nephew or their niece or whatever, and you're like, excuse me? You should be like, excuse me? And then you should go tell your significant other, hey, look, your relative just hit on me. Is this normal in your family? Is this acceptable in your family? I'm your partner, but yet they're trying to talk sexual union with me? Like I'm a piece of meat? They're going to disrespect you like that? They're going to disrespect me like that? Like, who the fuck are these people? And why are you even bothering with them? Who cares if you were born into them? My family is chosen. My family is most definitely not the family I grew up with. I love my family. I love my mama. I love my brother. And I even love my dear old dad. Bless his heart in a good way. Like, he just missed the mark. He just missed the fucking mark this lifetime. But, and he fucked up a lot of shit. He really did. My mother had everything set up perfectly and done everything right. And it's when my dad got his hands into it, when he got control over it, that it fucked everything up, and now my brother's dead because of it. My brother was murdered because of it. So, that's real. Like, if you got a bunch of people that sit around talk about what everybody's going to get when somebody dies or when they're gone, that's not the type of family dynamic you want to be in. Not at all. You want people that's able to live without somebody bequeathing something to them. For those of you, for people that ain't expecting an inheritance. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, so and so said they was gonna inherit this. They're gonna take so and so out of the will. Blah 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 blah. Fuck off with that, for real. Because at the end of the day, we're all gonna leave our physical bodies, and we ain't taking the ground with us. The ground's gonna be here for generations to come. The property's going to be here. The buildings on the property are eventually going to deteriorate and be torn down, and new things are going to be built on top of the ground where they were. So please, don't ever hook up with anything that values property and material things over human life, over spiritual life. Just don't. Do yourself a favor and don't. Don't even allow yourself to be that way, for God's sake, for your sake, for your children's sake, for anybody that you encounter's sake. Don't be so goddamn materialistic, because it's damning. And then when you get to the other side and see what an ass you made out of yourself, being greedy and killing people for money and land. Anyway, so definitely family is a big deal. Check the family out. You know, observe them. Like, date somebody for a while. Court somebody for a while. Go to those family functions and those family dinners and reunions and stuff. I'll tell you what, just real quick, from personal experience, like, I had a best friend. We were roommates. We were lovers. Neither one of us was quite ready to say that we were, like, a couple. Like, he was one of my soulmates, but, like, I was too afraid to be in a relationship with anybody. So I was like, here's the deal. I'm going to be upfront with you about it. If you want to do this, cool. And so we did it, and it was great. And, it really fucked me up because I don't go to Kentucky. I don't go to my hometown by myself. I don't. I always take an escort with me. Why? Because they'll try to kill me. Like, you know, if nobody knows, if she came by herself, nobody's going to miss, it's just going to be some weird shit and nothing's going to happen. But when I got somebody else with me, they're going to have to give an account of what happened to this other person to the rest of the world, to the people who care about this person. Okay? So, he goes with me. And he's empathic like me. And so it took him, like, I had to drive all the way home. It drains me whenever I go to my hometown. It just absolutely drains me. And it drained him as well. And, my dad said some really fucked up racist shit. And I really just wanted to, he actually let him stay in the house, which was a big deal. But he said some really snide ass rich white motherfucker racist shit. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And I didn't appreciate it. And my friend was mixed. But funny thing is, when we went to his white folks' house, right? When we went to his white family's house, the bitch locked us out. Thank God I had my keys attached to my shorts when I put them on so we could go out. And we had a joint we had a blunt we could smoke and stuff, because it really hurt both of us. Like, my dad might have said some racist ass shit. You know, it wasn't really, it was racist. If there's a degree of racism of that, then it was a lesser degree. One of those, like, you know how rich people like insult you in a nice way? It was like that. It was not just out and out you N-word. You know, it wasn't that. You know, it was just a throw off with, you know. So anyway, but no, he at least, you know, but now his white people, and I'm white. Like, the only thing bad about it was there was a lot of witchcraft stuff to do with that house, and like, the dark does not like the light. and that was the biggest part of it. And so, like, so we got locked out in the middle of the fucking night. We went outside to smoke a joint and got locked out of the house in the middle of the night. Thank God I had my keys with me, because it was cool that night, and it was the craziest shit ever was. Like, what the fuck? It hurt him so bad. It hurt him so bad that they locked him and me out. And this was his white folks. But now his black folks, his daddy's family, oh my God. Went to one of their family reunions, and it was the best fucking deal ever. Like, great family, great people, wonderful. Like, I felt like family there. Nobody disrespected me. Nobody tripped out. I mean, they laughed at us whenever we told them we was just roommates, because of the connection they saw with us energetically. But that was the only thing. They saw the love that we had for each other. But, you know, they laughed at us for denying it and whatever. And both of us were a lot younger and a lot more hurt from things and immature. But yeah, like, it was great. We had there was like a lobster boil. I'd never had one of those, so it was great. It was some good Southern soul food, you know, and a beautiful gathering. And even though he hadn't like been around his dad's family in a long time, they were like, "Hey, fam, you know, what are you doing? Are you making music? Are you doing your stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get him out there," you know. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. They weren't racist to me because I was white, or because I'm white. I'm still white, at least on the outside. There's some Cherokee in here and a few other things spiritually in here. It's old soul, so you know, I've lived in different colors of bags before. I've had different colors body bags before, yeah. So that was, you know, that's an experience that I will always carry with me. Is like the ones that you think would be a little more apprehensive of you being different. And, you know, I would have never in all my life. I would have thought that I would have caught a little bit of that from his black side of the family, but it came from his white side of the family, which at the same time don't surprise me nary bit, because experientially speaking, speaking from experience, I don't really like white people that much. Like, you need to be mixed with some things to have some sort of decency. Because I have been treated so indecently by white people. I, like, literally last night had a person of color, and somehow or another it came up, and he's like, oh, we were talking about being from Kentucky, and I was like, yeah, I've got friends that definitely will tell you don't want to be brown and from out of town. If you're going through Kentucky, just skip it. And he's like, I said, and you don't want to be a female either, because they don't like women either. And he's like, well, what about you? How do you feel about brown people? And I was like, I'm a lot more comfortable and feel safer around brown people than I do white people. Or any, people of color. I feel more comfortable around them than I do white people, for sure. And I said, I've been hurt by a lot of white people. I said, that's not to say that I haven't met some low vibrational people of color as well. But for the overall, I definitely, like, you need to be European, like you need to have some culture to you, like Italian, Irish, some sort of, just like, you gotta have some sort of culture and color to the fabric of who you are, where you came from, or whatever. Because, like, white colonization's real. When you get white colonized by white people and you appear to be a white person, and it's like they have no prejudice against who the fuck they take their stuff from. They don't care who they annihilate. They don't care anything. So, like, that's something that, and I'm talking about this, I'm like, oh my God, so how did this thing about dating get off on racial things and cultural things? Well, that's an important part. When you join families with somebody, when you make a union with somebody, it's very important to know what you're getting into. Like, you do not want to be in a relationship where you're hated by the person's family because you're a being of light and you love their child, their grandchild, or whatever, their nephew, whichever, whatever family dynamic they came from, or you don't want to be marrying into your enemy. So if you're a person of light, don't marry into the dark. If you're a person of the dark, like, you should probably learn from the people of light and heal yourself so that you can become one. And when I say light, I'm not talking about skin color or anything. I'm talking about your spirit, your essence, your way of being, your character, there's shadow and there's light. And sometimes you got to integrate those things. Sometimes, I don't know. There's a whole lot to it. But, like, don't sign up for something that's completely opposite of you and expect that they'll see how you love their family member and accept you. That's wishful hoping and thinking. And it usually ends up in a lot of unmet expectations. Like, you would think that it would be normal that even if people didn't really care for you, that they would see how much you love their child, and they would at least be respectful and appreciate your presence in your child's life and the fact that you're going to be the vessel that their grandchildren come through. Whether you're male or female, because it take two, So, yeah, family is a big deal. And we're going on almost 40 here. So we're going to stop this with part 2 about family and with courting and dating.